This podcast is being brought to you by LegalYogi.com.
And I'm here with attorney Jennifer Milne of South Florida Legal Rescue. Jennifer, hello. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy you invited me, Christy. How are you today?
Oh, good. Yeah, we're going to have a little discussion today. I think you just mentioned this, that 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. So,
Yep.
Children with behavior disorders, they're crying out, and they need that balance. I'm a big believer in that. If anything ever happened to my husband, if we broke up or anything, I would never in a million years keep him away from his son. It's whatever is going on between the parents should not, this child should not face that. It's sad to know that people do that. I have a couple of questions that have come into the site. Hopefully you'd be willing to answer them. This is one visitor that came to our site. They left a message a couple of days ago from Altamont Springs, Florida. And here's the question. I'll just read it off to you. It says, I have had temporary custody for 4 years and have been paying back child support. I went to court last week to receive child support from the child's mother, and it was denied. So this seems a little bit unbalanced. He's got temporary custody for 4 years. That seems a little bit more than temporary.
Well, and
oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
This is the father, I assume.
Yep, this is the father. Yep.
I mean, temporary custody is kind of one of those things where it is temporary, and then you can move to make a modification to make it permanent. Or I'm not quite sure. I'd have to look at all the facts in the case. But when they did the temporary order for the time sharing, they typically tweak the child support as well to account for the extra time that the child will be spending with the father. So I'd have to look at his case, but I'm going to guess that maybe he went pro se. Maybe he self-represented himself. So maybe he didn't ask them to tweak the child support. I really don't know without more facts, though.
Yeah, because it makes sense that you need more facts, but it sounds to me that he has full custody of the child for 4 years, even though it's temporary that he's had full custody, even though they're calling it temporary, and paying back child support for something that he had owed. But now that he's had the child long term, he's seeking support from the mother, and it was denied. So he has.
I don't know why. I mean, that doesn't, to me, like, that doesn't make sense. Any child support that he had owed up until that point when he did the temporary order, he still owes. But they should have, if the kids were living with him full time, they should have modified the child support order. So I really don't know what's going on there. And if the kids are living with him full time now and he went in to modify the child support order, he should have gotten the modification.
Yeah,
because the money follows the children.
Yeah, so it makes sense that if he did represent himself, that he may want to call the 800 number for a consultation and speak with an attorney. I remember you saying in one of our previous conversations that a lot of times people do go to hearings without representation, and things like this do happen. So if you do want a free legal consultation, you can call 1-800-397-1755. That is the main attorney consultation line for the service. And Jennifer, it sounds like this is something that would be simple to you, but unfortunately this gentleman, if he had gone on his own, may have had a small thing that was overlooked that an attorney could have helped him with.
Yeah, I do help a lot of people who go out on their own who can't afford all of my services, so I do help them go out on their own and explain to them what they need to ask for. I help them with the paperwork, because it's real. I mean, when you have a child support order, your money is, typically a lot of times the money is tight, so they can't afford a full-fledged attorney, and so I offer what's called bundled services, where I don't go to court for you, but I sort of shadow you on what the finer points of the law are and what you have to do when you go to court, and I do your paperwork for you. Now, a lot of these people that come into me after going in by themselves and trying to navigate the legal system, it's a disaster.
So they cause more problems?
Oh my gosh, sometimes it's so hard. It's really about fixing everything that they did. And they're good people, you know, and they bring me their box, and it's literally this. I have 2 of them right now that I'm looking at. 2 plastic bins, like the huge ones that you store wrapping paper in.
Oh.
You know, those really, really
yeah,
big,
just like a bucket of like scraps of paper and stuff, yeah.
And it's literally just papers in it that aren't organized. And you have to be so meticulous and so organized if you're going to do this by yourself. If you're going to do it by yourself, and you have to know the law. And I'll tell you right now, lawyers get the law wrong all the time. You know, I mean, I don't think I do, but, you know, I'm always surprised by, you know, sometimes I have to call attorneys on, you know, hey, this is the applicable law. And it's a lot of it's up for interpretation. Yes,
right.
Right, but it's really hard for someone who is not a lawyer to navigate that system. And I'm not saying, I know that a lot of dads out there can't afford the $20,000 custody battle. And yeah, that's kind of the ballpark for it. But I mean, custody battles can range from, you know, several $1,000s upward. It can go on forever. And I do have clients where it has gone on for years. And I don't say that to scare people, but that is the reality. And most people cannot afford that.
Yeah, here's an example right here. Here's the second visitor that came to the site. Now this gentleman called our 800 number, so we'll just paraphrase the question because he didn't write in. He called in to the 800 number.
Okay.
So this man called. He lives in California, and the child lives in Arizona. The child's mother is refusing to let him see his child. It's been over 1 year since he last saw her. He attempted to contact a lawyer at Legal Aid in California, but was unable to obtain one who was willing to work with a case that is based out of Arizona. He said the situation is heartbreaking. He is on Social Security due to a medical issue and is unable to pay for a high-priced lawyer. So what would be your advice for this man?
It's horrible because the child has left the jurisdiction, and the father, unfortunately, lives in California. The home state for the child is now Arizona. From the fact pattern, it sounds like the home state is Arizona. He's going to have to get an attorney in Arizona. The mistake was letting the child leave California. And now he's just going to have to find an attorney who in Arizona to help. It's really, that's why if you have something like relocation where the mother or the father is attempting to relocate.
What were you saying if you have an issue with a relocation?
If you have an issue with relocation, you have to be really timely about your response. You can't let the child leave the jurisdiction.
Well, I do want to thank you very much for your time today.
You're very welcome, Christy. Always a pleasure.
And that will conclude our show.
This podcast was brought to you by LegalYogi.com, providing hundreds of free legal consultations every day since 1999. Our database contains over 160,000 legal and financial professionals, and our phone line is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you would like a free legal consultation, you can call 1-800-397-1755 from any state in the U.S., and we'll be happy to provide you with a free legal consultation. Our web address and phone number are on the podcast image for your convenience, or you can simply go to LegalYogi.com. That is LegalYogi.com.